Flip any garment inside out, and the seams will tell you almost everything about how it was made. That hidden stitching dictates how long the piece survives, how it feels on the body, and whether a customer actually keeps it. But when putting together a tech pack, most buyers hyper-focus on the fabric weight, the fit, and the surface finish. They treat the actual seam construction as a minor factory detail, leaving the sewing room to figure it out. That creates an immediate tension. The factory needs to hit high-volume targets quickly and economically, while your end customer needs seams that flex without ripping and lay flat without chafing. This chart plots production cost against customer comfort. Relying on the cheapest, fastest, vague defaults keeps unit costs low, but it drastically reduces durability. Demanding precision specs costs more upfront, but secures the comfort your customers expect. Leaving your tech pack blank on stitch type actively increases your return rates and degrades your unit economics over time. If you hand over a tech pack without specific seam instructions, the factory will look at their floor and choose whatever gets the highest volume out the door the fastest. This is the expected outcome in a high-volume facility. The factory is simply optimizing their workflow based on the blanks you left them to fill. The problem arises when those default high-speed seams end up on close-fitting performance wear. You get thick, layered fabric edges pressing directly against the skin while the body moves. Every step causes that raised ridge to rub. That friction turns a morning run into painful chafing, forcing the wearer to stop. A premium fabric means nothing if the construction hurts the person wearing it. Relying on default stitching turns an expensive athletic piece into an unwearable liability. For the vast majority of net garments globally, the factory's default choice is the overlock stitch, typically the 4-thread or 5-thread variation. It is a machine built for incredible efficiency. A standard industrial overlock can fire off up to 1,200 stitches every minute, allowing factories to hit tight bulk order deadlines. This cross-section shows how the overlap achieves that speed. In one pass, the machine trims off the raw fabric edge, encloses that edge in loops of thread to stop fraying, and stitches the two pieces securely together. But notice the structure. By stacking those two fabric edges on top of each other and wrapping them in thread, you create a permanent raised ridge on the interior. Even if overlap is the right choice for the garment, you still have to inspect it. Look out for skipped stitches that weaken the hold, twisted seams caused by bited tension, or visible fraying where the thread loops fail to fully wrap the edge. It is highly efficient for t-shirts and casual hoodies where the fabric drapes loosely, but that raised internal ridge makes it entirely inappropriate for tight-fitting activewear. When you eliminate drape and the garment sits tight against the body, you have to transition to a true flatlock stitch, which is driven by specialized 6-thread machinery. This side-by-side comparison shows the mechanical difference. Instead of stacking the fabric, the flatlock machine aligns the two raw edges perfectly flush. The resulting seam has zero interior bulk. It lies completely flat against the skin, stretches easily with movement, and leaves a distinct ladder pattern visible on the outside of the garment. But those benefits come with direct trade-offs. Flatlock machines require highly skilled operators. The sewing process is significantly slower, and that extra labor drives up your per-unit cost. Because of that cost, factories without the specialized 6-thread machines will often offer a workaround called the mock flatlock, achieved by simply loosening the tension on a standard overlock machine. Visually, it might lie somewhat flat, but structurally it is exceptionally weak. When a mock flatlock seam faces the high-stress pulling of an athletic squat or deep stretch, the loosened threads simply blow out. Paying the premium for true flatlock makes sense when it guarantees a chafe-free customer experience. You just have to verify that your factory actually has the in-house machinery to execute it before signing off. You don't have to choose just one stitch for the entire piece. Smart sourcing treats stitching as a surgical investment. You pay for flatlock only where friction demands it, and use overlock everywhere else to protect your margins. Looking at the schematic, we have a standard everyday t-shirt on the left and an athletic compression shirt on the right. Because the casual tee isn't enduring high-intensity friction, you can safely assign a standard 4-thread overlock to the side seam and a safety stitch to the shoulders. Now look at the compression shirt. The body moves constantly against these specific panels, turning the underarm and the inseam into critical high-friction zones. For these exact locations, you must mandate a true 6-thread flatlock. That single specification guarantees the garment won't chafe the wearer during a workout. Mapping the right stitch to the right scenario keeps your production budget focused where it matters, securing the structural integrity of the garment without paying for unnecessary premiums. Before a single sample is cut, your tech pack needs to reflect these decisions. Look closely at this construction table. There is zero ambiguity left for the factory to guess at. You must spell out the exact thread count for your overlock seams and strictly enforce a density of 12 to 15 stitches per inch to prevent loose, gaping seams. For heavy load intersections, like the sleeve heads and the crotch, explicitly write in the requirement for bar tacks or double-stitched reinforcements. When negotiating costs, remember this rule. If you are selling premium activewear, never let the factory downgrade your flatlock to an overlock just to save a few cents on the unit price. The returns will cost you far more. Use your pre-production sample as a structural audit. Turn it inside out. Check the thread types and hunt for twisted seams. This is your final chance to intercept an error before it multiplies across 10,000 units. When you stop looking at garments just for their surface aesthetics and start specifying their structural mechanics, you stop hoping for quality. You engineer it. Flip any garment inside out, and the